Hey, everybody. Welcome, YouTubers, Facebookers, Twitterers. And there I am going live on TikTok as well. Didn't even realize I hit the button. That's a little scary. Let's see who our first TikToker is. What do we got here? Manda Bear, you made it first again. All right. Good for you. And I got my good glasses. So much excitement today. Ooh, hello, everybody. Um, I am your host, John Irvoses, here in Chicago. Kumar, it looks like we fixed the Facebook thing so you can actually comment now. That took a while. Syndicate helped me figure that one out. So good to see you. Yep, I can see you. I can see you. And everybody on TikTok, I know, wait, cue the Russians, 3, 2, 1. That's about right. As always, guys, we're going to take, warm today in Chicago. As always, we're going to take about 5 minutes just for folks to introduce themselves, and it gives some time for everyone to kind of filter in because it takes a few minutes for folks on YouTube and TikTok. I'm going to adjust my TikTok. There we go. I like to put it so at least my head's above the comments. Woo! Anyway, how are folks doing? Like I said, it's a nice day here. We got to walk Sasha with my sister's dog today. Very exciting. So that was fun. I know today was a major letdown. Very weird. The Putin speech thing, very strange. We're going to talk about it. It's very weird. I don't know. I mean, just anyway, we'll talk. Curious to hear your guys' thoughts on why it was such a dud of a speech. Otherwise, there's news. There's always news. That'll be our top one. But there's a lot of little bits to talk about. I've got actually a number of videos to show you guys too. Actually, I'm going to open up my iPad to make sure it's downloading the videos. It is. Yeah, that's good. I don't think I've got pictures. Let me see if I got pictures to show you guys too. But yeah, say where you guys are from if you would. Let me see photos. Just to see if I had anything here in the photos. But we'll start at 5 after. This way, like I said, gives you guys a chance just to say where you're all checking in from. He did not declare war today. It was pretty weird. I thought it was kind of strange. Library, that's all right. I don't think I've got any photos to show you guys of today's events. Not really. Several good videos. Oh God, forgot that one. There's a good one. All right, that's another video. I've got a lot of videos to show you guys that are kind of funny and fun. Pull back videos so they're ready. There we go. Oh, favorites even better. There we go. All right. My iPad is ready for joy and excitement. Oh, anyway, guys. For the mobs to play. We've got a new mod. Syndicate's joining us as a mod today as well, my friend. So he's going to be keeping an eye out. Well, on TikTok, on YouTube, you guys are already well covered at this point. Un petit coucou de Québec. Salut Adrien de Québec. Un petit coucou de Chicago aussi. I haven't seen that before. Poppy, that was a new one. You shocked me on that one. There's some new baby king's crown or something to get on TikTok. That was kind of fun. I wasn't expecting that already. Hello from the Maldives. I don't know if we've had the Maldives before. That's very interesting. Oh, and Greg, see you there. I'm just trying to look, see if we're getting many of the Facebookers. Zach, see, Zach was able to chime in from Facebook. Lovely. Like I said, with the help, Greg, with Michael, this is great. With the head of Syndicate, the help of Syndicate, I was able to, or he was able to actually figure out what was wrong with the posting. It was a ridiculously easy setting that I didn't even see. So now the Facebookers should be able to, at least the Facebookers on my main Facebook page. If you're on the other Facebook page, you won't be able to chime in. So I apologize for that. We'll go one more minute, guys. We always take this for folks just to introduce themselves, and it gives a chance for people to kind of filter in on Facebook and TikTok. Usually takes, I'd say, about 5 minutes till we get a decent number of folks, and then we will jump in. What else is going on? I don't know. My dog is sitting here. Twitter comments. I can't check the Twitter comments. No, they won't. Excuse me. I shouldn't say that. I don't think the Twitter comments come in here. I know I cannot comment to Twitter, but I don't think they show up here. I don't think so. But I know I cannot comment to them. No. Well, that's interesting. It's also telling me I can't. Oh, I didn't even know this. I cannot write back to the Facebook crowd, at least on my main page. It's claiming. I don't know why. But it says I can just write back to my my page and my America blog page, but not my main Aravosis one. So, oh, well, at least I can right back here. But yeah, on TikTok, I don't think so. I don't think the integration works that way yet. And I'm going to get started now anyway, but I might as well. It's a perfect way to explain to you guys what we do. Thank you, Lucy, for that. I've got TikTok up there on my phone. I've got YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter down here, along with some LinkedIn as well. And that's why you'll see me looking back and forth. So we got that going. On the Q, so basically what we'll do is we're going to do Q&A. Yeah, Jessica Checker. Thanks. Yeah, my nephew's popping through. Mom's downstairs, needs help. Mom's down. 92-year-old mom is doing laundry, so needs a little help getting back up the stairs. She timed it perfectly. She goes, "I'll just need your help in 5 minutes." I was like, 5 minutes? You won't be getting my help. You'll be getting my nephew's help. But anyway, the way we do this, guys, and there will be probably familial interruptions because that's what happens when I visit mom. And dog interruptions are pretty much a guarantee. But I will give you the news for about 20 minutes. And today's looking a relatively short news day, maybe, depending what we get into the back and forth. Rudy Tim from Tennessee. I'm just so excited to see all the Facebookers finally being able to check in. This is great. Thank God we were able to figure out the setting for that. I will be presenting the news to you guys for 20 minutes. Then we'll get into the Q&A. That will go till quarter after the next hour. So usually we get a good 45 minutes of question and answer. On TikTok, the Q&A is at the very bottom. To submit your questions, that is. Look at the very bottom of the screen and you'll see something that literally says Q&A. Thank you for that. Meaning question and answer. Submit your questions there, and that way they're in a row for me, which makes it easier to find them because literally there's like 90 plus questions from you TikTokers every day. We get this. So it's the best way to see them. YouTube, I ask you, of course, to use the comment box at the bottom. If you're doing regular comments, let me put it this way, super chat comments, I will get to immediately. Those are the comments you buy because since you buy them as a donation, basically. Ashley, speaking of which, and the fun things on TikTok are also donations, so I thank you for those. On YouTube, you can buy super chat questions, which is a YouTube specific thing. It's the little money sign at the bottom of your chat box or whatever. If you click it, you'll see a couple options. But the super chat questions, you can enter a question, you pay for it, it'll highlight it on the screen, and I promise I will always get to those because, as I said, we've got like 100 plus questions. There's no way for me to get to all of them. That's a way of guaranteeing I get to your question and of you supporting my work, which is wonderful all around. There's also super stickers for people who don't have questions but simply want to donate. That is lovely too. I do this full time. That's the only reason I mentioned the donation stuff is that literally right now I'm paying my way with your guys' donations. So thank you. Let's just dive right in. Oh, and definitely follow me and like me. I always feel weird saying like me. But do follow me on TikTok and on YouTube. That helps. And liking everything. Oh, we've got cars and little thingy, the flower thing on TikTok. Thank you guys and my heart. But let's jump right in. And don't be annoyed if you're on another service and you constantly see me referencing the cool things people are putting on TikTok, because I also like to thank them for the stuff they're doing. And it keeps it kind of fun, although it's a little weird because you'll literally hear me go, "Thank you for the corgi." And you'll be like, what is he talking about? All right, guys, let's jump right in. So top stories, Pulitzer, the Pulitzer Prizes came out today. They awarded a special Pulitzer to the Ukrainian journalists across the board for their coverage of the war. I think they said their courage, their determination. There were 3 words they used, but gave them a Pulitzer for their work, which was really kind of amazing. I mean, especially when you look at the Kyiv Independent that literally was created like last November. And these guys have become a major source of information. Harvey, I've got video to show you on that one, Harvey. So fret not, that's happening. The Putin speech. So let's talk about Putin's speech. So today was the big day that we were expecting lots of wild stuff happening because Vladimir Putin was giving his big May 9th speech. May 9th is the day the Russians celebrate the victory over the Nazis. That victory was actually yesterday, May 8th, but Russians being Russians, they had to have a special armistice so they could get their own special day. So for them, it's May 9th. And even though it was the Soviet Union that beat the Nazis, along with the rest of us, the Russians claim it was pretty much just the Russians because they're Russians. So they don't even acknowledge the other Soviet states, which is the really funny part. Like the Soviet Union was 15 countries or whatever, like it's sort of eaten by one big dictatorship. And they don't even acknowledge the other ones. They claim the Russians did it all. Yeah, the Russians did it all right. They ate up half of Eastern Europe and subjugated it for 50 years. Thanks, Russia. In any case, Putin's speech was a huge dud. We were expecting, thanks for the glasses there, we were expecting this to be a speech where Putin was going to possibly declare war against Ukraine, but even NATO, I thought even NATO was a possibility just to declare war, sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of in fact, but not actually doing anything about it, like saying we are now at war with NATO, but not actually doing anything militarily, because what would it do? If he declared war on NATO, it would stop NATO, first of all, from being able to get through the Bosporus, the Straits of Turkey, because any of the warring parties aren't able to get through. Like, it was my crazy idea. In any case, Putin did nothing. He talked about the Eastern Ukraine and the Nazis and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he didn't do it. And then, I mean, he just talked about a lot of nothing. What was interesting was what he didn't talk about. Listen to this. He did say, I'm sorry, this is one part. He did accuse NATO of preparing to invade Crimea. Crimea is the portion of Ukraine. My sister gave me a map and I was going to print it out before we started, but everything went I was a little behind today. I don't have a Patreon set up for this yet. I need to. I had a Patreon for my podcast that just ended, but maybe I will set up another one if it's another easy way for people to support me. I appreciate you asking. I will get to it. So Putin claimed that NATO was going to invade and they were going to steal Crimea. Crimea is the peninsula in the south of Ukraine, sticking into the Black Sea, that Russia invaded and stole in 2014 and now claims it's part of Russia. So Putin claims, and get this, he invaded you. Mind you, remember, first they were invading to stop the Nazis, and then they were invading to save the. Thank you for that, cat. Was it Kelly or Keltke? They were invading to save the Russian ethnic Ukrainians in eastern Ukraine. Well, today we found out that Russia really, it's like a Saturday Night Live episode, really invaded because Putin had heard that NATO was going to invade Crimea in the south. And in order to stop that, Putin invaded, this is my favorite part, in order to stop NATO from invading Crimea in the south, Putin invaded the north. Sure, Vlad. But again, I'm starting to think Russian people may be very gullible, because let's face it, a lot of the garbage these guys put out is stuff that's so ridiculous on our end, but we're going, they must know it works back home. So anyway, that was the crazy stuff he said. What Putin did not say was fascinating. He did not issue any nuclear threats. And remember how much Russia's been talking about. I sort of had the list. It was like, what was it? Poland, Finland, I think, the Baltic states, Berlin, London, Paris, and Ireland. Finally, Ireland for Daniel O'Neill. Ireland got thrown in too, which was very nice. No nuclear threat at all. No mention of, we have our nuclear power like this. None of it, which is bizarre, because that's practically a de-escalation from these guys who always say it. If you don't say it, if you don't say it, you're saying something, is my point. No victory announcement. He didn't even announce victory in Mariupol. Putin announced victory in Mariupol 2 weeks ago. Why didn't he today say, and the war is going great, we've had victory in Mariupol, we've got we now have a land bridge connecting us to Crimea? To me, I've been trying to think about this all day, why Putin didn't do this. To me, you don't say it if you think you're going to lose it. You don't tell the whole country, oh, we got Crimea. We've got Mariupol. We've got a big stretch of land in Mariupol. We've got more of Donbass, like the eastern Ukraine. If you think in the next month or two, you're going to lose the whole damn thing. That's my guess. But it's very strange. It's very strange. No mobilization. So there was no call to war. There was no call to get the whole economy going and to draft men from across the country. Those were some rumors that popped up last night. Nothing. This was a very interesting one that somebody else had noted. No signs of Valery Gerasimov. Gerasimov is the chief of the general staff, which is, I used to say the Colin Powell when he was head of the military. He's the General Milley of the Russians. So in other words, he's not you have the defense secretary, who's the civilian, in their case, really a civilian in Russia. He never even served. You got the defense secretary, who's a civilian, and then you have the uniformed head of the military, who's Gerasimov. So he's our version of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He wasn't there. Why wasn't he there? I mean, this idiot he was in Ukraine. And remember, he was in Ukraine a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. And there were thoughts that when they blew up a bunch of the dignitaries, the visiting military, or the senior military guys in a building he was in, that maybe they hit him. Why wasn't this guy there today? Very, very strange. The other strange thing, they canceled the planes. They were going to have planes over Moscow. I saw Yekaterinburg and 2 other cities, and they canceled them. Remember one of the planes? We talked about this. One of the planes was going to be the Doomsday plane. And they bragged about this like 3 or 4 days ago. The Doomsday plane that Vladimir Putin uses when he declares war. We're going to be flying that over Moscow. And the whole point was as a nudge, nudge, wink, wink to the West and to NATO, like, oh, it's our Doomsday. Again, the nuclear threat. You better watch it. Well, not having the plane means the nuclear threat is no longer made. More importantly, they didn't have any planes. They had no Air Force flyovers. They claimed it was because of bad weather. The weather was perfect in Moscow today. I mean, all the commentators noted it. All the foreigners that were there said the weather is perfect for an air show. They canceled it. Now, couple possibilities. People are saying they didn't have enough planes. Maybe. They didn't have enough pilots. Definitely maybe. They certainly would have had to divert them from the war front. I don't know why you couldn't have even told people that. You could have said, rather than divert them from the war front, we've decided to send all of them, whatever. I'm wondering, thank you, Blarbark, maybe. I'm wondering if Putin was afraid that some Ukrainian with a Stinger missile was going to shoot one down. Because that would be really interesting. That's the thing you could do. You wouldn't have to be in Red Square to do it. You could be a couple blocks away. And you could, and boy, imagine the show that would have been, the Stingers, the shoulder held ones. Imagine the show that would have made with Putin there, national television, everyone looking up at the planes. And of course, the media would be covering the planes because that's the best part when the planes fly over. And a Stinger shoots one of these planes down. So anyway, that's my personal guess. Still could be they don't have enough pilots. I kind of hope it's mine because I like mine. Nathan, thank you for that. British Defense Secretary Ben Wallace said today that he thought that Putin had dumbed down his speech and made it more mellow because he's looking for a way out, or he's possibly looking for a way out of the war. I don't know that I buy that. I don't buy that, actually. I just think this is very strange because, in my view, Putin has to ratchet things up. They're losing. He's got to figure some way of shaking things up, and you don't shake things up by doing less. And he literally ratcheted down. He ratcheted down the enthusiasm of the country. Even he gave them, kind of a dour speech, and that was it. Thank you, Christy. He needs some TikTok stuff like Christy's putting up to get people excited in Russia. That's what I would say. U.S. defense official today said that Russia has made no significant progress in the northern Donbass. Northern Donbass, the sort of northern region, getting you close to Kharkiv and all of that, which we've been talking about for a few days. So once again, nothing there, which is great. British intelligence weighed in on cruise missiles and other guided missiles, but really, I think they were talking about cruise missiles from what I read. The Russian stocks of precision-guided munitions, thank you for that, are severely depleted, and they're forced to use easily accessible but less accurate munitions, which are easier to intercept. In other words, they're precision-guided munitions, and they're also precision-guided artillery shells, I believe, but I don't know if the Russians use them. But a lot of this for the Russians are cruise missiles. And they've used so many of them that they now don't have that many left. And now they're stuck using less accurate things like artillery shells. The only thing is artillery shells are not easier to intercept. So I'm actually curious what they're suggesting now. This is actually a good question for you military guys out there and gals, because if it's less accurate but easier to intercept, that's not an artillery. I was like that. Thank you, Andy. That always makes me laugh, the hat. That's not easier to intercept. Easier to intercept are cruise missiles than artillery shells. In any case, I'd be curious what this is, but bottom line is they're having to shift to something that is easier to intercept. They can't use their more precision guided, which means they're not hitting anything, hitting anything specific. It's more good news. Hang on a sec. It's more good news that suggests that they're just doing worse, which is great. This is interesting, too. Ukraine has now captured 232 Russian tanks. We don't care about them. It's captured 232 Russian tanks, many of which can be reused. Thank you for the disco ball, or the disco, I should say, not just the disco ball. For comparison, the British Army has 224 tanks operational. So the Brits have 224 tanks operational. The Ukrainians have captured 232, more than the Brits even have. And the Ukrainians, mind you, thank you for that. The Ukrainians, mind you, have their own tanks already. They've lost some, but they've gotten a hell of a lot more. Really interesting. Really interesting. Oops, sorry, zooming ahead here. So that was exciting news. Today is a positive news day. I've skipped over, We talked about the school they bombed yesterday. I didn't want to talk about it again. I mean, it's horrific news, but we got it yesterday. Today's a pretty good news day. I'd rather stick with the good news today. Billionaire. Here's a story for you. Oh, that's a good one, Cammie. Thank you. Oh, it's so funny. It shows Kilimanjaro, I think. Billionaire oligarch Alexander Subbotin, who is a former top manager of the Russian oil company Lukoil. Thank you, Carrie. That's one of my favorites too, the seafloor thing. Who's one of the top managers of the Russian oil company, was one, Lukoil, died, was found dead. Thank you, Chaz. After, get this, they're claiming. Mind you, this comes after 6 other oligarchs died, the other billionaires. He's now the 7th billionaire to die mysteriously this year. And it's only April, or it's only May at this point. He died after what they're saying. Lucy, thank you. Oh, Lucy, hey. Now I'm starting to recognize who people are. Thank you, Lucy. He died after an anti-hangover treatment. So he got a hangover treatment that involved a poisoned toad, and that's what killed him, is what they're saying. Now, I suppose it's entirely possible, but to be the 7th oligarch to die under mysterious circumstances is a little weird. Although maybe the poisoned toad thing is even a little too crazy for the Russians to do. They would do something, thank you, Flower Lady, for that, than that. I've got to think, did I have videos? I didn't have videos. No, I have videos now, though. So the Russian ambassador to Poland goes to some celebration today or ceremony, whatever. As I said, today's the day that they mark the victory over the Nazis, and they claim that it was not just the Soviet Union, it was only Russia. Only Russia. Literally, they say nobody else. That one of their ambassadors said this the other day. America and everybody else had literally nothing to do with the battle against the Nazis. And it was like, okay, I said the word, sorry. Well, he's in Poland, and God bless Poland. He's in Poland today doing this, and he's surrounded by people who are not happy with him. And I'm going to stop this a second. They're not happy with him. They're yelling at him fascisti, which is the word, thank you on TikTok for that. I just saw that. They're yelling at him the word fascisti, which is fascists or fascist. And look very closely at him if you can. He's in background with the red tie, in front of the guy with the, there you go, red on the face. They're throwing red paint on him, which they're calling the symbolic blood. I got to show you one more time because I love this. And again, fascisti. Yeah, kind of a bad day for that guy. That was a great one. Another video, someone hacked, and again, could be anonymous, but who knows? Somebody hacked the digital schedules of, in other words, like the online schedules. They've got the schedules online or whatever it is for Russian TV shows. Well, somebody hacked them and replaced them with, I'll tell you what it says and then show you. The morning online TV page was hacked. The name of every program, the name was changed to "On Your Hands is the Blood of Thousands of Ukrainians and their hundreds of murdered children. TV and the authorities are lying. No to war." I just love that it's like "on your hands," whoosh. But hang on, this one, just to show you, because I think it's just kind of interesting to see. Nothing to see there. Here, just to show you, but it's kind of fun to see the. So that's the online schedule that they've got for them. And literally every single one says the exact same thing about basically you're responsible for murdering children in Ukraine. Love that. The Patron, or Patron, as he's called. Now, this is funny, actually, because this is a dog that Vlad told me about a week ago, sent me some videos, and I meant to do something on it, and I didn't. And now Patron is like world famous. So Patron, which I'm told in Ukrainian means cartridge, I guess like the cartridge to a gun or whatever, a cartridge that goes in a gun, is this little Jack Russell Terrier mix who is adept at sniffing out bombs and munitions. So it could be bombs, it could be artillery shells, it could be anything. I'm guessing maybe it could be landmines. I don't know if he can sniff out mines and things, but he apparently has sniffed out 150 to 200 munitions, very famous, very helpful. And Zelensky gave him an award when Prime Minister Trudeau was visiting. Oh, because part of what they're using is to I guess, deactivate the mines or whatever, is equipment from Canada. Otherwise, it would be a little weird. Why are you giving a dog a medal in front of Trudeau? But it was because of that. But I'll just show you Oops, hang on. Make sure my little. It's cute. It's cute. They give him a little thing. Now the other. I wanted to show you the other picture of. Oh, this is the other picture, Patron, that I love is this was from some earlier broadcast, like a couple days ago or something, and they had him on the TV or at the press availability to show him. But look at this. He's asleep. I mean, is that the cutest thing? He just fell asleep. Oh my God, that is hilarious on TikTok. That was hilarious. The hat went on the guy in the picture. But is that absolutely adorable? Oh, that was fabulous on TikTok that you just did that. That was absolutely hilarious. So that's Patron. And I think like I said, this was a relatively short news day, but a good news day. The last thing I've got is, I've got two things. There's a, there's a new farmer. Oh, thank you, Christy. I'm going to guess infantry fighting vehicle, I think. Is that a BMP? I always forget what they call these things. Oh, Patron means bullet. Okay, thanks, Igor. Oh, you know what? Yeah, okay, yeah. That makes sense. Oops, hang on. So Igor is saying that Patron means bullet, which makes sense because a cartridge is a bullet, but I'm guessing it's possible somebody foreign was translating it for me because a cartridge, I was thinking a cartridge you put in a gun, but it would be a bullet is probably the easier word. Yep. Just another tank, but I thought it was fabulous. And the last thing I will show you, because now we're switching over to Q&A, but I'm sorry, it was kind of adorable, is my sister's dog yesterday at, hang on. My sister's dog yesterday at Mother's Day, which was here in America, which is why we had did I show you this? Did I show you this yesterday? If I didn't, I can't believe. I don't care. I'm going to show you again. This was hilarious. The dog was chasing me in the yard, and, well, you'll pretty much be able to figure out what happened because you can even hear it. But hang on. Oops, sorry.
That didn't even work for a picture. That was too much. Oh. She went right into the camera. Oh, sorry.
I know. Sorry. That was so. Well, the thing is, literally, if you're hearing, I did not know because my sister, I'm going to show it one more time. My sister and I were listening to it outside and I couldn't hear anything. When you're inside, you literally hear against the camera where she was fine afterwards, but she's a runner. She was chasing me.
That didn't even work for a picture. That was too much. Oh. She went right into the camera. Oh, sorry, honey. Oh my gosh, good girl.
See, but then I'll give you some. But then she runs again.
You want to call her again?
See, but then she's like, okay. Yeah, crazy little puppy. Oh, it's 4 months old, Yorkie poo. So, but absolutely adorable. But it was funny because I got home when I finally played it, and it was literally like bunk. That's like priceless. She was fine though. She didn't hurt herself. But oh my God. So sad. The poor dog. I'm not doing my shirt. Today is a glorious day in Chicago, and it's getting warmer and warmer now. We're going to be like upper 80s this week, which is kind of ridiculous for Chicago this early. I don't know what it is. It could be 28 for you guys in Europe. I don't even know, but it's way too hot. All right. I am going to jump right in here. So let's jump right in with the questions. As I said, feel free to submit your questions on the bottom on TikTok, the Q&A thing. So I'm going to go pull from there. On YouTube, you know how to do it. You can feel free to put them in the comments there. If you buy a super question, I promise to get to those first. And of course, you're helping me out with a donation by doing that too, which I love. And let me get to see already 65 questions on YouTube, on TikTok. I'm telling you, you guys are always good with the questions. Yeah, the ruble thing is interesting. Somebody's asking Xbridge, why is the ruble doing the best it has in 2 years? The ruble, I mean, you'd have to get to sort of a macro economist or whatever to tell you the details. But initially, the ruble did poorly. The Russians have certainly been supporting it. I mean, they supported initially with the interest rates. Then they lowered the interest rates, so that actually was less. I don't know to what degree the Russians are still spending money to support the ruble or whether the ruble is just doing well. Now, the ruble doing well means that inflation won't be as bad in Russia, at least from buying foreign goods. The question is what foreign goods the Russians can buy anymore, right? So I'm not sure about that because that would impact inflation. The real issue, I think, for the sanctions that really matters the most is the war machine, and to what degree the sanctions stop Russia from being able to rebuild its weapons. Like I was talking about at the beginning, the analysis from, I think it was British, was it British or either US or British intelligence, but saying that it's going to be very hard for the Russians to rebuild their precision guided weapons. And that I played it for you guys yesterday, I think, the Russian military analyst on TV, it was either yesterday or the day before, and the guy was talking about, so I'm going to tick my TikTok again so I'm at the top at least, maybe. There we go. That the Russian military analyst was saying on TV that it's going to take them forever to build this stuff. He said maybe 90 days for some new tanks, maybe. I don't know if he said, the boats. I think he said if we ordered new boats today, we might get them at New Year's. If we ordered planes, we might get them in 2 years. I mean, you just can't, they can't build this stuff. They just can't build it. It takes a while to build them, but then you've got the sanctions kicking in as well. So that's where it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we were warned from the beginning that the sanctions weren't going to change Putin's mind. But I think all this talk about how, the sanctions aren't doing anything, there's no way they're not doing anything. I mean, that entire economy has just been shut down. And I'll leave with this and go to the next question, but as the head of the central bank in Russia said about a week or two ago, she said the sanctions initially hit the financial industry. And they did, by the way. The sanctions, one of the big things they did, they required Russia to pay for its debt with its own currency reserves. And that's huge because once it runs out of those, it's in trouble. And it can't therefore use those reserves to pay for its war machine. But she had said that initially the sanctions were hitting the financial sector, but now it's going to start hitting the business sector or commercial sector or whatever you call it, production sector, because pretty much everything that's made in Russia involves some kind of foreign made part that is necessary to make it. So, let's see, but I refuse to believe that, everything's going great and everything because the entire country was just shut off. Let me put up questions. Harvey. I got your email and forwarded it, Harvey. We'll see what happens. Thoughts on former Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Kasyanov stating in a BBC interview that he believes that Putin is losing strength and around 50% of the Russian population are reconsidering their view on the war. Wow. Now, the only thing I'd be curious about, I don't know Kasyanov. I'm guessing he's abroad. Actually, there was somebody abroad that gets quoted a lot. He may be the guy. But I'm guessing he's abroad if he said that. Well, let me know. First of all, is he abroad? But I would guess so. The other thing is he somebody who's credible? What I mean is he somebody who's kind of always trying to knock Putin? Or is he somebody who actually says stuff about what's going on and he ends up, it's sort of the same thing I tell you guys to do with newspapers, is it, so I'm going to tilt this a little bit, making my head look like I don't know what. Just that, like, is he somebody you can trust when he makes these kind of comments? That's my only thing, but, oh, hi, okay, sorry, my dog is, as I said, this is the personal podcast. There we go. My dog is next to me on the chair and she's making the little noises that mean cover me up with the blanket. So I had to cover her up. Sorry, Harvey. For you, I know you would excuse me taking a break to cover the dog. So that's interesting to me. Thank you for the lights, Grandma. So that's interesting to me. If he is a good source, that's really now, okay. I guess first of all, what does Putin losing strength mean? I'm guessing Putin losing strength means that I don't know. It depends what he means by that. Does he mean that he's losing strength in the war, which we know, right? Or does it mean he's losing strength as in support of even the people around him and the generals and everything else and the security services? That'd be interesting. But if 50% are reconsidering the war, that would be amazing. I don't know if that's true. I mean, obviously you can think of what my answer would be. My answer would be yay, but I'd like to hear more about whether that's true, but that's certainly very interesting. Yeah, it's great if it's true. Let me jump here. Thank you, Sam I am. I was going to say Samiano. I always want to turn your name into an Italian. Sam I am. Becca Engelman. What do you think of the German police taking away a peaceful a Ukrainian demonstrator's flag today? I did not touch on it. I had not seen it. What I knew was, initially, the German police a couple days ago, thank you, Firefly, for that, had said that they were banning like all Ukrainian flags and Russian flags. They were kind of treating it the same. And the Z symbol at the at the celebration, but thank you, Marcy, at the commemoration for all the World War II stuff, right? And everybody went nuts and said, how can you ban Ukrainian flags? Like, that's just insane. So what the Germans then did is they said, you can wave the Ukrainian flag for 1 hour, which was also really kind of bizarre. It was sort of this weird, they thought they were doing the middle ground, but it was still kind of creepy. And I did not see what happened. My guess is that person probably waved their flag after the hour was over, and it looks absolutely horrific because you're literally arresting somebody in Germany, in a democracy, for waving a Ukrainian flag. That's insane. And it is also tone deaf, as we say, meaning somebody who just isn't even thinking of the politics of this and how it looks. I mean, you're going to arrest. I hope there's pictures. I'm sure there is picture and video of some woman or some guy with the Ukrainian flag being dragged away simply for Ukrainian flag. Thank you, Francis, or Fran B. It looks like Moscow. It looks like just that. Somebody with a simple little flag. Oh, that's wow. I'll have to look that up. I did not see that. That's horrific. There's video. I'll get it and I'll show you guys next time. But that's horrible. Thank you. I did see the little things pop up on TikTok. They're the little hearts. Thank you. Dragana Novakovic. Hi, Dragana. I don't think we've seen you before. Nice to see you. Do you think that Russia is retreating to lure Ukraine to trap them, or this is just wishful thinking of the Putin bots? Why such a long, weird front line? Slava Ukraini. I don't think the Russians are. We're over 2 months into this. Thank you, Samara, for that. We're 2 months into this. Actually, yesterday I guessed correctly that we're at day 73. We're at day 74. Like, at this point, if the Russians had some big scheme, some big plan, they should have already executed it, right? I mean, because they just keep losing men and losing equipment, and it's just things are not going well for them. So I don't think so. I just don't think so. I think, look what happened in the north to start with. It's the same thing that happened in Kyiv, right? The Russians were being pushed. First, we heard the Russians would probably be pushed back, and we all kind of went, give me a break. That sounds good, but come on. Then they actually did get pushed back, and they withdrew, and we found out the Ukrainians really did destroy their vehicles. They really did destroy their men. So we knew that wasn't a trap. And I think it's the same thing. Now you can strategically pull back. That is true. And that's what the Ukrainians were doing initially in the East. The Russians were lobbing all their artillery. And the smartest thing for the Ukrainians to do was just pull back out of artillery range, let the Russians come up a mile or so, and then then charge back in and push them back, which is what they kept doing. So you can have a strategic retreat, or so to speak. Although in that case, it wasn't really meant as a trap, I think, by the Ukrainians. It was more strategically, because why sit there and get bombed? Let the Russians drop the bombs and then we'll come back. I don't think so. Why a long, weird front line? My guess is the same reason everyone's been criticizing Russia to start with. The Russians seem to be strategic military morons. I mean, they rather than, I told you guys, I think yesterday, the day before, one of the generals I really like was on CNN, and he was showing a map of Ukraine. And again, I should have my sister's map of Ukraine she sent me, but coming in near Kharkiv in the east, and he said, right here by Kharkiv, right south, they should have come in right here, and he showed the map of Ukraine, like this much, all the troops coming like this, they would have barged through the Russian lines, and they would have, accomplished a lot of what they wanted to accomplish. But they literally, first of all, they started in the north and the east, right? And the south, coming up from Crimea. Then the north got screwed up. They moved it over. They've still got, as you said, this long line from Kharkiv going all the way down. And it's not just down to Mariupol. It then goes over from Mariupol, Kherson, which they've occupied. They want to get Mykolaiv. So all of the fighting's happening there, and maybe even Odessa. I mean, it's stupidity. I think that's why I'm at the time of the day where my allergies are kicking in again. I just realized my head's itching again. They're just idiots. That's why. You are correct. It looks kind of weird and bizarre. That's because they seem to be strategic military idiots. Now, all I can guess is, because let's face it, the Russian generals, we didn't think they're stupid, but it makes me wonder. Think about your own workplace. Whenever something ridiculous happens, it's usually because the boss walked in and said, I don't care, do it. And you wonder whether Putin walked in and said, no, I want Mariupol, right? I want Odessa. I want this. I want that. I want Kyiv. And he just gave them the orders, and they weren't ready, and they didn't have the men to do it. And they didn't have, in a dictatorship, you don't tell the boss no. Even in a democracy, you got to be careful. But in a dictatorship, they didn't want to tell him no. And that's what happened. So it may very well be Putin's fault. Alyssa Heverin I'm going to go with that. Body language experts say Putin showed no passion or conviction in his speech. Interesting. Actually, I was wondering what my friend Marion thinks too, because she's fluent in Russian. Thank you. I did see that on TikTok. Thank you. Do you think he's receiving pressure to get out of the war internally? Well, no, that's kind of funny, because you could you could call that a sign of depression, really, if you're like dispirited and all of that. The speech was weird. Why wouldn't he mention the nukes? I mean, why wouldn't you? You're at war. You don't have to mention the nukes and say we're going to nuke you, but you literally go, look at these glorious weapons before you. Nuclear, this. You know, we are the strongest nation on earth. I mean, you would still mention it to like say how strong. He didn't do it. And why wouldn't you talk about the places you liberated unless you were afraid of losing them? He bragged about Mariupol 2 weeks ago. Mind you, he didn't get Mariupol, but you know, they got everything except the steel plant, and they still haven't gotten the steel plant. And God bless those steel guys, because maybe he would have said Mariupol if the Ukrainian soldiers weren't still there. But you know, for all intents and purposes, he could have claimed credit for Mariupol because they got everything but the steel plant, but he didn't. No, I think, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, which basically means there is something else going on we don't know. And maybe it is pressure. The problem is, who else do you get pressure from? I mean, the generals, but you'd need all the generals. And at that point, why wouldn't he have them killed? Just like he's probably doing with the oligarchs. You know, I don't know whether the Russian system permits you to put pressure on Putin without dying, you know, unless literally enough people come up. And in other words, you'd almost have to have a coup that isn't instituted yet, isn't executed. And you come up to him and say, we've got this, and this lined up. We will remove you from power if we have to, but we're giving you one more chance to straighten this out. But boy, you would have to arrange that very well to pull it off. And I don't know whether they could actually pull that off, but very interesting. Yeah. Let me look here. All right. I don't think I missed anything of the super chats. Let me go back just to get a few TikTokers too, to be fair. And TikTokers. Is war with Russia at some point inevitable? You know, we went through the Cold War and didn't have war with Russia, not directly, you know, and that was from 1945 on. That, and the Russians were doing as the Soviets were doing horrible things. I mean, the world was a horrible country and doing horrible things around the world, and we still never went to war with them, you know. So I don't think it's inevitable. No. And again, I think we're kind of seeing Putin back down. I don't just mean the speech today, but he did all of that nuclear bluster. Thank you, Doug, for that. He did all of that nuclear bluster and everything else. And then it ended up being, I don't want to say clearly a bluff, because he could still do it, I guess. But it ended up, our intelligence experts believe it's a bluff, that he's not going to follow through. So, yeah, I don't see war as being inevitable, because if anything, I see it, you know, less evitable or more evitable at this point. But I'm meaning, I think the risk has actually dropped back, which is great. That's interesting. I think, sure. I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. I should ask for you guys on TikTok, on YouTube. Madhouse Pana or Madhouse España. Tricky. Okay. It's like a riddle trying to figure out your guys' names sometimes. It's keeping my brain agile. So it said if Ukraine tried to take back Crimea, would NATO back them? I think so, because I don't know how NATO wouldn't back them. NATO can't say, what's NATO going to do? Well, we're happy for you to liberate your country, but if you try to liberate that part of your country from Russia, oh my God, we wouldn't support that. I think we would. Especially now that you know, Putin's little bubble is, or you know, it's not his bubble, but whatever you call it, his facade has been burst and nobody's really believing anymore his threats. I think we would. The question becomes for Ukrainians: should they? Does it make sense? Is it smart? I mean, can they? What will it take in terms of manpower and weaponry and time and resources that they maybe should be using somewhere else, or you know, maybe they just, I don't know. We'll see. Why unrestricted climb? Why are we supposed to care about Ukraine as dancing Zelensky? I don't like any war, but if all MSM tells me to love somebody, that's a hint I shouldn't love them. I don't think it goes that. Hey, all the MSM tells you to love Betty White, and Betty White was fabulous. I don't know if you're American. If you're American, you might know who I'm talking about, but she was this famed American, movie star, not movie star, TV star, who died at 99 years old, literally 1 or 2 weeks before her 100th birthday. I mean, famed, adored by everybody, the nicest person on the planet. And literally there was a cult surrounding this woman for at least the last 10 years about how great she was. So, I would certainly say, I'm sure Zelensky is no saint, and I'm sure nobody is a saint, right? So you're right on that account, but I don't think it proves Zelensky's a bad guy because so many people think he's a good guy. I mean, think about that though. I really, if so many people think he's a good guy, then probably there's some good stuff they're seeing. Now, maybe they're exaggerating, but they clearly saw some good stuff that got them going there. So I wouldn't say that. Let me see what Raggedy Android, of course, I love your name. Touch on the Lend-Lease bill signed today. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to sort of get my head around what it actually does. I mean, I know the original Lend-Lease, but from what I was seeing, so Biden signs this Lend-Lease bill today that's akin to the Lend-Lease program we had, World War II, and doing the same thing now with Ukraine. From what I was reading, the one thing I read that made sense was it somehow lets Biden cut some of the bureaucracy somehow. And I don't know what that bureaucracy is because he's president of the United States. You'd think he'd be able to, zoom through stuff pretty quickly. But nonetheless, somehow this bill will let him get weapons more quickly to Ukraine if he so chooses. Now, my suspicion is, but I don't know that he would do this. Lend-Lease is literally taking our weapons and saying, we're going to lend them to you or release them to you. Like, we're not giving them to you permanently. And it allows us, I believe, to give some of the weapons we're currently using even, right? Like, even if we have weapons in Europe, we give them away. I don't know how many of our own weapons like that Biden wants to get rid of if they're weapons we're currently using to protect things. But from what I read, somehow it helps with their bureaucracy, and somehow will help him get weapons to them a lot more quickly. And some of it's symbolic too, because it equates the Ukrainian fight with the Allies' fight against the Yazidis, as we call them, in World War II, because that was what Lend-Lease was for. So there's probably some of that too, about just the public relations aspect of it. Sorry, I'm going to close this question. Now, let me see, make sure I didn't miss anybody else here. I don't think so. Yeah. Let me... just looking at your other guys' questions here really quick, if I can see them on YouTube, and then I'll go back to TikTok. Not up on the Chinese downplaned, really. Hey, Nancy. Oh, thanks, Nancy. Glad you were joining us, and glad another Facebooker able to comment. You can thank Syndicate, who's among us, who figured out finally how to fix the Facebook commenting problem. So glad you joined us. Let me go and grab another TikTok question. As you guys know, I've got TikTok and Facebook Live here. We're going to go another 25 minutes. I went through so quickly on the news. Ample time here. Not much to say about Justin Trudeau and Ukraine other than I think it's great. I think it's important for the leaders to show their faces. I think it's sort of the public relations aspect of showing everybody rallying is nice. But also, and I've said this before, one of the neat things that's really good about foreign leaders going over there, I think, is they get personal time with Zelensky and they can establish a relationship. And if you can establish a good relationship, it's really... Okay, I don't even know. You're about to leave. Yeah, you're leaving. Bye-bye. I got that one myself on YouTube. Occasionally, I like to ban people myself just because it gives me a little sense of somebody was being Looney Tunes and very unhelpful. I'm sorry. What we were saying... I'm already forgetting what I was saying here. I'm sorry. Somebody was weighing in and saying, Syndicate was saying, it also allows Biden to give weapons Congress was refusing to give to Ukraine. Well, see, that's the question. That would be true Lend-Lease right there. Basically saying the president can himself, give some of these things. I just wasn't sure to what degree that was actually going to happen or whether he'd piss off Congress, because to some degree, Biden, not to some degree, to a large degree, Biden, just as Biden wants to keep the allies together and doesn't want to sort of tick anybody off, he also doesn't want to tick off Congress because he needs Congress's support. He wants Congress to continue supporting the war in Ukraine. So he doesn't want to tick off Democrats or Republicans because it's important to keep this bipartisan. So especially because as time goes on, it's going to need more money. And, eventually people could start complaining that it's costing too much, right? So that's an issue. I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I mean, not to get too off topic of Ukraine, but I'm picking it up anyway. Christopher Constanzo says, Biden plans to visit Asia soon. Do you think he'll strengthen relations with China and sway them, or will he focus on Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea? I mean, he's probably going to do both. I kind of feel like Biden is Ukraine doesn't have a navy, no. They're very good at sinking Russian ships, but they don't have a navy, no. Knowing Biden, he doesn't seem to be the most confrontational guy, meaning he's really a big believer in diplomacy. I think he would believe he could try to establish a relationship with China. I think absolutely. Having said that, he absolutely, because of his background in foreign relations, I mean, going back 20 years, whatever, more than 20 years, actually. I mean, he was chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate, which is a big deal here in America. He still would, the Japan, Taiwan, South Korea thing, he still would be very big on. He still would be tough with China and South Korea, but he also would try to be friendly with them as well. So I think, I don't want to say he wouldn't take a middle ground on Taiwan. That would not happen. But I think Biden does not look at this as let's beat up on China, because also one of the things Biden's thinking is he really wants China to not help Russia in this war, if this war goes on. I mean, at all, let alone if this war goes on. So he's going to be thinking, what can I do to make inroads with the Chinese and establish a better relationship? So that would be my sense, knowing Biden. I mean, knowing him on the outside. I've not met the man. Ever met the man? No, I haven't met the man. I've seen him in committees, but I've never met the man. So let me grab you another. Oops. We can't translate those things. I don't know. Nina, I can't translate your question. Can anybody translate Nina's question? Assuming it's a nice question. No idea. I can see Sasha and Ukraini original. Anyway, if somebody can translate that, I'm happy to, assuming Nina's being nice, I'm happy to translate it. And Peach Umbrella, thank you for that. That was very sweet of you. Let me know, folks. If it's not nice, let me know too. Let me grab another TikTok question, guys. Thank you there. God. Interesting you asked that. Who is in charge of the Ukrainian tactics and strategy, says the lady Callie. I did see at some point the names of the Ukrainian, like the generals and the minister of defense, or you don't see them. You don't hear from them much, which is very interesting. One thing I had read was that Zelensky basically was very much hands off. That he knows he's not a military mastermind. He was an actor. He's a comedian, and has been very good about letting the military sort of take the lead and do what they need to do. Obviously, he's still in charge, but that's all I know about that. I don't know beyond that. Google translated. Okay. And what did Google? Yeah, I can't copy it though. It won't let me actually on your screen. Maybe you can copy it. On my screen, I can't actually copy the quote. Ina, it looks like it's not Russia's failure, but we will soon have a failure. Unfortunately, it's hard to explain to you, but the United States refuses to send weapons to Ukraine. We've been sending weapons to Ukraine, though. If that's what Ina's been saying. Oh, Ina, it's not Nina, it's Ina. Yeah, I don't think so. No, the weapons now I think you are seeing, and thank you, Taiku, for that. Now you are seeing a lot of the U.S. weapons coming, and you're seeing the Ukrainians have been way happier. I agree with you at the beginning. I criticized Biden at the beginning. I told you. I did not like, thank you, Grandma. I loved when I don't know if you're the one who did it earlier, when I had the picture of the guy on the screen to put the hat on his head. That was fabulous. At the beginning, I was criticizing the U.S. and NATO that we weren't doing enough, and all the BS with the planes in Poland and everything else. And clearly at the beginning, Putin had played us, and Putin had scared the hell out of us. And Putin, I mean, not me, but he had scared the president and I think the Western leaders, and convinced them that oh boy, they better not help Ukraine too much or Vladimir's going to get mad. And somehow they got to the point where they realized Putin was bluffing, A, but B, that Putin had become such a war criminal and was literally practicing genocide and trying to eliminate the entire Ukrainian state and the Ukrainian people, that finally, and Biden may have taken the lead. I mean, I shouldn't say Biden took the lead, because Boris Johnson's been amazing on this, but Biden himself, I think, clearly had an epiphany and said, I can't let these people die. And so that now you're seeing them get the weapons they need. Other than, I mean, they want more, of course, and they're asking for more. Thank you for the origami on TikTok there. But I think you'll see a lot of the military experts are now, who were saying it wasn't enough, they need to send more, are pretty happy about what the U.S. and what the West has been doing. So I would disagree with you on that now, but I think you were right a month ago. Absolutely. I think so. Oh, you weren't a Russian troll. I've seen you before. Taiku, I don't think you're a Russian troll. For the mods, just so you know, because I remember trying to pronounce your name. You've been here before. You were helpful. You've been very helpful. So yeah. Oh, May, thank you for that on there. Was there another question or something on here? Or I can. Oh, Bean, I don't think she was trolling. Carrie. Not necessarily, because what she was saying was the U.S. isn't helping enough. That's if anything, a pro-Ukrainian point of view, I would argue, right? I mean, I was saying we weren't helping enough up until recently. So no, I don't have and honestly, and if it were a Russian troll, we've got a good answer to it. But I don't think that's necessarily troll. This is one of those things where it's kind of hard. We say trolls online, basically meaning people who come to the forum and try to disrupt. And I think what's hard is you don't always know. And I do like to try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I always say, like, if I'm not sure, I give them the benefit of the doubt, because if they are a troll, if they are a bad person, they'll follow up and say something obnoxious. And then you're like, bam, like my sister's dog hitting the camera, boink, you're out. But you often you'll get a sense, and maybe she was, but sometime, if anything, her question set me up to explain how great NATO's been doing and how in league we've been helping Ukraine. So, but you never know. Like I said, usually the trolls will prove themselves the second time around. Let me, because they just can't keep it to themselves. They start off pretending to be nice, and then they just can't. What else is happening here? Sorry, I'm just trying to pull. Yeah, they had that little parade in Mariupol. It was kind of disgusting. The Russians got their little, either they were Russians themselves or sympathizers. They had a small parade, whatever. It wasn't, the good part was it wasn't a big deal. And I don't think it looked good. And I don't think it looked good at all, which was good. I mean, it wasn't, I was afraid they were going to do, this huge military parade in Mariupol and all this. They were talking about, thank you for that, Grandma. They were talking about having celebrities and stuff. Russian celebrities were going to come down to Mariupol, that city in the south they've been bombing for 2 months with the steel plant. They didn't do that. I mean, Mariupol, celebration became off the map. So anyway, that was very interesting to me. Mosaic Crone, what did you have to add? You always have interesting things to add. The Americans dragged their feet because we have a nuclear plant near DC. Do we? I didn't even know that. We've got a nuclear plant near DC? No one told me. I mean, I believe you, but I didn't know that. And the Russian spies Obama kicked out lived in Centerville, Maryland, just 15 minutes away by boat since Nixon. I didn't know that. That's interesting. No, and it may not have just been the nukes, but we were afraid. I mean, and Biden made that clear, saying, nuke World War III and blah, blah, blah. We were buying Putin's BS. I don't think we should have, but we were buying Putin's BS. So, let me go to another Q&A question from you guys. Putin is not drafting them yet, not according to what we've heard. This is, oh boy, the names are so small. Actually, I keep meaning to, one of these days, I'm going to use my mom's new iPad and see how it works for TikTok to see if having that is more convenient, because it'll actually show me what's written on here bigger than the size of, for anybody who's over 20 years old, it's impossible to read TikTok. But in any case, your name is Blar Barkhouse, I think. Is Putin now drafting people into the war? We thought it might be happening as of last night, but now I'm not so sure. There were a number of reports, maybe last night, that we've heard a lot of reports last night that people were getting messages, but they may have been hoaxes. Lies people were putting out there. Not yet. That was what we thought he was going to announce today, and he didn't announce it. So I'm seeing anything. Nope, nothing new on TV. We thought he was going to announce it today, and he didn't. That he was going to actually have a nationwide draft and all that kind of stuff. He's not doing it. So now and honestly, they don't have enough troops, and they don't have enough qualified troops. The problem, though, is that it's also not clear that the draft would help them anyway. I mean, that was one of the issues that the that Russian military expert was saying on TV, so covering up my dog below, was saying on TV that he didn't think the mobilization would help anyway. He said it's going to take so long for us to get new planes, new tanks, new boats made, or new ships made. And, the troops we've got aren't great. Our best troops are already injured. The new troops, you're taking people off the street and putting them through boot camp. What's that going to do? That's not really going to do much. So it's always possible Putin kind of figured out that the draft wasn't going to help. The thing is, I don't know what does help for them. And that's which does get kind of weird. Why can't you find me on TikTok? Lisa, you're not the first to complain about that. That's happened before. Just, do the search for Erevosis and it should bring up me and 10 other trolls who try to be me, except they don't have any followers. But my screen name is Erevosis, my last name. So make sure you're spelling it correctly and search for it on TikTok, but you should be able to find me. It's there. But as I said, having said that, others have raised this to me as well, that TikTok may play some games occasionally. I try not to get the TikTok gods too mad at me. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I didn't see Sarah. I'm sorry. I had your question starred so I wouldn't forget it, and then it was in the star column and I didn't see it. Sarah, Megan. I'm going to say Megan or McGann. What happens to the oligarchs' money when they die? Wow. That's really interesting. So the oligarchs are the Russian billionaires, but they're the Russian billionaires that are really corrupt and have gotten their money probably from Putin. A lot of it, what a lot of people think is that, all right, Putin has possibly stolen hundreds of billions of dollars with a B. And I was seeing numbers like 200 billion, again, with a B, dollars, horrific amounts. They think some of the money he's basically, they believe he spread the money out through various people in order to hide it. Some of it's with his daughters. Some of it is with possibly even each billionaire has an amount. Thank you, Poppy, for that. Each billionaire gets a certain amount. And I heard one person surmise, it's possible that he even gave one of the billionaires, $1 billion and said, go for it, spend, but keep a certain amount of money, coming. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. Spend, but keep a certain amount of money, don't spend too much. But it is quite possible when the oligarchs die, all their money goes back to Putin. It's possible because their money may actually come from Putin. So I don't know. That's a really interesting question. Like when they die, did their families actually get anything or not? I don't know. Dragana, you're back. Dragana Novakovic. I'm trying to figure out what Novakovic. Actually, Govic, you could be Serbian. I'm trying to think like what that last name could be from. Though Dragana reminds me of Dragos, who's the comedian I love from Romania. Actually, RSD, that could be Romania, couldn't it? I'm not sure which currency that is. But in any case, I always like figuring those things out. Do you think the draft would be announced by someone else in a few days? It could be. That was a comment on CNN. I think the expert guy is in so much trouble. It could be. For whatever reason, maybe they decided they didn't want to do it today. I don't know. The only thing is I don't know why Serbian, German, Irish. But Serbian is where the name came from. Okay, there you go. Well, Novakovic, I think of the Ovic as being Serbian, although maybe that's other names too in the area. But yeah, my family's Greek. But so we pay a little more attention to. I remember, Milosevic, obviously, but the other one was Petrovic, who was a big basketball player when I would visit in Greek. Oh my God, Greece 30 plus years ago. And I forgot his first name, but Petrovic, big famous player when Greece was battling the Serbians, maybe probably Yugoslavia back then, possibly, but it was a big deal. But it easily could be. Yeah, it easily could be by somebody else. To some degree, I don't know why Putin wouldn't do it. Like, why wouldn't Putin almost take credit for it? But I don't know. Maybe Putin's pissed. Maybe Putin's worried that so many people are going to get mad that he wants somebody else to take credit for it. But I don't know. I like the names. I find the names interesting, Carrie. See, I'm from Chicago, and also I'm ethnic from Chicago, being Greek. So we met a woman today. I heard an accent and I said, "Where's your accent from?" Poland. So we talked about Poland, blah, blah, blah. But thank you, Nathan, for that. I always love asking people where they're from. I think you should see me in an Uber. I'm the king of Uber because also I've traveled a lot. So like a lot of the people, I'm like, I've been there. Haven't been to Serbia. I haven't been to anywhere in the former Yugoslavia. I've been dying to go. but just have never had the opportunity. It was Yugoslavia at the time. There you go. I thought it was. I thought so. Yeah, he was a big deal. The Greeks hated him. I think no, I know. Actually, Nathan's funny because Nathan got up. I just put the question up. He said that Putin speech was pathetic. I had my popcorn ready and everything, and it was boring as hell. Nathan had told me he was staying up to watch the speech and had found it on Deutsche Welle. They were doing it live. I literally woke up by chance at like 2:05 this morning. The speech was supposed to start at 2 a.m. So I just got on my phone for about 20 minutes and watched. And the same thing, I'm watching going like, I'm lying in bed, waking up when I shouldn't to get this speech, which is absolutely nothing. So no, the speech really wasn't that much. Yeah, there's a whole issue with, who is this? Oh, Mikola Midon is saying that she watched a documentary on how the Russian oligarchs, again, who are the corrupt billionaires, got their money into the United Kingdom, and the government looked the other way for the longest time. Yeah, they bought a lot of stuff there. Isn't it real estate especially, but maybe other things? The oligarchs, really bad. And for the longest time, it was kind of overlooked. And now finally, there's some motivation to try to track down the money and stuff. But, and it's not just them. At some point, you got to be a little careful if everybody else owns your land and everything else and you don't. Not to get all nativist, but still. Oh, funny. Well, I am not the expert, certainly on Greek basketball. I'll tell you that. But yeah, etiquette. What is KRF? I'm assuming it's a basketball thing. Or are you saying, or is that somewhere? What is KRF? I don't even know. Actually, you'll have to put it down below what KRF is. What else we got? Let me pull up another TikTok question for you guys. I'm going to scroll down so I get somebody maybe that put one more recently too. I think Europe is concerned. Oh, I think Europe's concerned. Europe has definitely been doing a lot themselves. No, there's been the German thing. We've had the German thing back and forth with Schultz a little bit, but I think he's on the good guy side again, which is great. But I think Europe has been kind of amazing with all of this, really. Yeah. Leah asks, why don't I get you on my For You page, FYP, anymore on TikTok? Because TikTok isn't showing me on your page because I do Ukraine content. That's the truth. And they're doing it to lots of other creators doing Ukrainian content. And it's really, really annoying. And we can always tell on our side, oh, Corfu. I thought you were trying to say, I thought she might be trying to say Corfu with KRF. I've never been, actually. I've been to a lot of places. I've not been to Corfu. But yeah, it's been really annoying because we can see as creators on our end because all of a sudden the traffic drops. And of course it means then the money drops. And it's just like, it's so annoying. People want the Ukrainian content on TikTok. It's worked. They were into it and they should just let it go. Anyway, it's very annoying. Sorry, pull up another TikTok question here. We got another good 7+ minutes. I just don't think we're looking towards a war with America and Russia right now. I don't. Does Putin losing make him a greater nuclear threat? The only reason I think that's not the case is because what does Putin get out of using nukes? Okay, I guess there's two things. One, using the battlefield nukes. Let's start with the big nukes, the ICBMs, the nukes that we fire at each other and the whole world dies. That's what literally happens. We fire the nukes at each other and the whole world dies. There's no reason for any leader to do that. Even if you're losing, Putin would be losing the war in Ukraine. He wouldn't be losing Moscow, right? You're losing Moscow, maybe you throw off the nukes. But when you're losing the war in Ukraine, you yourself may be losing your job. But sending off Corfu, okay, yeah, I've never been. Corfu's supposed to be wonderful. There's no benefit to Putin in doing that. Putin wants to be known as the greatest, the greatest czar ever or whatever. He doesn't get that by, having 95% of Russia's population nuked. I don't, using the big nukes makes no sense at all. Using the little nukes, what people are now saying, the intelligence estimate is it's not clear what the benefit is. There's a lot of bad and not a lot of good. So he uses a small nuclear weapon in Ukraine. He doesn't really end the war there. The Ukrainians, first of all, would probably be like, that's it. Literally that every POW would probably be on the spot if they did that. But also, then I think you've got NATO's involvement. I think even if Russia uses a small nuclear weapon, I think NATO gets involved and says, that's it. We're having a no-fly zone. Because you can't have nuclear weapons going, even a small one, you cannot have nuclear weapons going off in Europe. I think all of NATO gets involved and says, that's it. Ukraine, it's over. Ukraine's off limits. Get out. And at the very least, we would set up a no-fly zone in the free parts of Ukraine where the Russians aren't. And this would include, this would include everything east to almost Kharkiv, I would say. And then you kind of have to cut through south. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't go, maybe you don't go straight to the enemy lines, but you would cut out most of the country and go, this is over. For starters, and you would then look at the weapons that you're not giving Ukraine because you really didn't want to go to that class of weapon, and you would start giving them that class of weapon. So, if anything, if I were Putin, again, I always say he's crazy, but he's not crazy. It would be a strategic disaster for him to even use a small nuke because then he's not accomplishing anything, but he's opening up. He's forcing NATO to really get involved in ways that they're not even doing now. So, and they're already in danger of losing now. So, where else we got here? We can do, we'll do a few more questions. We still got 5 minutes anyway of what I promised. Yep, I'm just bringing this up. And some Europeans are scared. Obviously, Carrie B says, obviously some Europeans will be scared and some won't. It can depend on anything from anxiety to closeness to Russia. Nothing's wrong with being scared. It's a scary time. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of this, we were talking about it, and my friend Patricia was weighing in, who used to live in Italy, and a lot of her Italian friends were really scared and even thinking of leaving for a while, and it's scary. I mean, thank you, Linda, for that. It is scary. It is scary. I mean, again, I have to be confident that I just don't, let me put it this way. Mistakes can be made, right? I mean, that's the biggest risk. The biggest risk is some kind of mistake that leads to escalation, but I don't see it being an intentional direct move where Putin goes, hey, let's use a nuclear weapon. That's going to really improve things because Putin knows we're going to go. And Putin especially knows now. I think originally, we were at more danger at the beginning, which is why I kept saying I did not like our leaders constantly talking about, thanks to the Borg thing, constantly talking about, oh my God, it's World War III. If we get involved, we got to be careful. Because I thought that enabled Putin to do even more, because if we kept saying under no circumstances we're going to engage Russia militarily because it'll be the end of the world, then let Russia use a small nuclear weapon, because we're not going to engage militarily because it would be the end of the world. I mean, it didn't make sense to be saying this. And finally, we evolved past that, at least past that kind of language. And Putin started realizing, holy cow, they're not falling for my bluff. Thank you, Human, for that. They're not falling. Human, is that Ferengi? We're not falling for his bluff, and he now sees that we're embattled and we're kind of pissed off, and that people like Biden are. If I were his advisor, I was telling him Biden, may not have been as strong as he could have been at the beginning. Biden's pissed off now. Thank you for that too. That is my favorite though. That little wreath of flowers. So that's my take. Javi. Another one from Javi. Thoughts on Zelensky stating, that was a good quote, actually, you're pulling up. Harvey says, thoughts on fun with flags, Harvey. That's exactly it. Thoughts on Zelensky stating, soon there will be 2 victory days in response to Ukraine beating Russia. In response to Russia general comparing the 1945 victory, comparing the 1945 victory to the war in Ukraine. How confident are the Ukrainians getting? So Zelensky said today, soon there will be 2 victory days, meaning we will celebrate the victory over the Nazis. Oops, I said the word. And we will be celebrating our victory over the Russians, right? I don't think it's too confident, because first of all, you're the leader of a country at wartime. This is like Churchill in World War II. Was Churchill supposed to go, I think we'll win. I think we can survive the bombings, right? The thank you, Grandma and Human, right? I mean, the bombing of Britain. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we're not the greatest generation, but we're one of the greatest generations. You've got to be superlative if you're a leader. I don't know that. This is interesting, Human. That one I don't think I saw before. Thank you for that one. That I don't think I did see that. Actually, I like that too, because I like purples are my favorite colors. So yeah, I don't think it's being too confident, because I don't know how you get too confident. And thank you for that, Chaz. Let me put it this way. Not too confident in your language. You can get too confident in your actions, and that's a different question. Meaning, and the Russians were doing this, right? Let's send everybody on 3 different sides of the country invading, and we'll go after Kyiv, but we know we're getting Kyiv in 3 days, so we're not going to worry about supply lines, and we're not going to worry about sending enough medics. That's overconfident in practice. That's dangerous. But overconfident using this kind of language, I think you're the leader of a country at wartime that's facing genocide and the elimination of your country. You've got to talk as somebody who's going, we're not afraid of you, because so that your own people aren't afraid. And your own troops hear that and go, yeah, that's what you need to keep inspiring the people and your troops for that kind of thing. So no, that doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all. I think it's good. Let me see here. And actually, that's a very good point. Let me pull this up. So I'm going to say Mike L. If Ukraine needs more weapons, they just get delivered, meaning from all of us. If Russia needs more weapons, well, you just said it takes time. That is one of the biggest points people have been making too, is that, the Ukrainians have an open spigot for getting weapons. The Russians don't. The Russians have to make more weapons. It could take them a year. It could take them 2 years. Do they even have the parts to do it? Now, you get into, and there's one of the other generals I like. One of the other Greeks is on TV. I think it's Petraeus. We have many Greek generals. Thank you for that, JK. But yeah, that is one of the problems. Now, mind you, even though it's an endless spigot of U.S. weapons, it still takes time. I mean, you can't, it takes time to get them there. It takes time to move them across country, but nonetheless, we can replace the artillery. We can replace, the drones. I was reading too that I think it's the comic. Was it the Stingers or the drones? Shoot, I'm forgetting now. I've got it on my phone, but it's there under you TikTokers. That anyway, U.S. defense production, the production of defense companies are ramping up their production significantly, so they can produce a lot more weapons than we thought we would need. PB&J, I recognize you. PB&J asks, do you think Biden will make a surprise visit to Ukraine and we won't hear about it until he's back in the U.S.? Maybe. I think he should. It's fun. A lot of the Biden supporters on TikTok get mad at me for saying this, but I think he should. I mean, I'm glad his wife went, but there's also a little bit of a weird dynamic when your wife goes and you don't. I mean, it just doesn't look good. I'm glad she went, but I don't think it looks good. Biden should have been the first foreign leader to go, because part of the reason, we are America. We are the leaders. This is my argument. We are the leaders of the world. We're the people who go first. We're the brave ones who show into Ukraine and say to Moscow. And I guarantee you, Biden's advisors said, we don't want this to be about America and NATO. Let some of the other people go. But if you show up, then Putin's going to make it about you. And they were still playing that cute little game that they were playing. And yeah, so I think it was a mistake for Biden not to go. It still matters for Biden to go. It is true that when the president of the United States goes, you have even more security, I think, than other leaders, just because probably our folks demand it. So it becomes a little bit of a mess. It can detract from the Ukraine. You don't want to detract from the Ukrainians themselves. Actually, I would put it this way. I would be curious what the Ukrainian government says, because it is possible, and I'll give Biden the benefit of the doubt. It is entirely possible that Biden folks told the Ukrainian government and said, if it would be useful to you, we will come. But you tell us, is it useful or is it too much trouble right now? Because literally your security people have to spend days planning this when they should be worrying about your security. And maybe Zelensky said, you know what, you're right. Yeah, I'd love to have you here, but I appreciate the effort. But so who knows? But he needs to go. Now, like everybody else, you might hear about it afterwards. You might, because for security's sake, they may not even want to say he's in the country. They may want him on the way out, or for security's sake, you announce it. You announce it just like they did with those initial 3. I always get it wrong. Who was it? Was it Poland, Czech Republic, and maybe Slovakia? I always forget who were the 3 that came originally. They announced it once they were on their way, I think. But they announced it publicly. But it was good they announced it publicly, because that was also part of a security thing. So Russia knew, don't you dare bomb these trains, because you're going to be at war with NATO if you do. So sometimes there's a really good reason for saying it publicly. I didn't even know I yawned. Stop saying I yawned. See, I'm yawning now because you said I yawned, Motec. I didn't even realize I did. Evil of you. All right, I'm going to grab one more TikTok question and then one more YouTube, unless anybody, if you buy the super chats, I always promise to keep going on those. Otherwise, we're going to call it quits. It's a slow Monday today. It's a little bit slow Monday. Not terrible, but a little slow. I am glad Justin Trudeau went to Ukraine for the reasons I said. Oh, and again, they can establish that relationship, which is great. I want my president to have a relationship with Zelensky, a more personal relationship, so that Zelensky can call and get stuff. more easily. That's since I'm on Zelensky's side. I'm on my president's side, but what will it take? See, now you all got me yawning. You had to mention it. I'm thinking of it. What will it take for the West to lift sanctions? Currently, that is potentially a question for Zelensky. The German chancellor of all people, thank you for that, on TikTok. The German chancellor of all people, Chancellor Scholz, said that it is up to Zelensky when we lift our sanctions. Now, that's not really true. It's up to us when we list them, but he's saying sort of publicly, we are going to defer to Zelensky, which strengthens Zelensky's negotiating hand with the Russians by far, because it tells the Russians, no, you need to make, I'm sorry. By the time we do this, I'm already actually, I think the door's closed too, so I get like my carbon dioxide up. But no, I know it's a very infectious yawn. I'm sorry. But I think, see what happens. And then I start talking about my my yawn and looking at your questions. And I forget what I'm talking about. We're talking about Zelensky something. It's Monday. It's Monday. I don't know. All right, guys, maybe that's my sign to call it quits. I don't think I missed any. Yeah, I got Dragana's question. Good. Let's call it quits. We hang out anyway. I'll hang out till 6:30 with you. We can hang out and chat, and then I won't feel as guilty yawning. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. But and yeah, so this is the part. What we do is typically we get to this part, and then we just hang out and chat for 10 minutes. A lot of people like it. Don't feel like you got to hang, but we usually have a pretty good crowd that hangs out. Woo, tired. Oh, it is time for John's break. I always like when Be Kind does that. I feel like I'm 93. It's time for John's break. He needs a little hot milk. He needs a little bit of hot milk today to keep him going. Snack time, exactly. We've got his little juice box. But yeah, it is time for John's break. Oh, man. Oh, I'm tired, guys. You know what it is? But I don't sleep well anyway. But last night it is true. I woke up at 2:00 coincidentally. And when I saw that was the time, I said, oh, shoot, the Russians are starting their parade. I've got to watch. So I got on Twitter and started reading everybody, so about 20, 25 minutes. It wasn't very long. His speech wasn't very long either. About 20, 25 minutes of it. And then, but that's the other thing too with his speech. I'm from Chicago originally. Yep. Born and raised here, and then went for law school in Georgetown and ended up staying in DC. So John's sleepy. John needs his cocoa. I know my sister did bring me cocoa the other night. One of those, which I'd never had before. One of those like cocoa ball things, those snowball things, whatever you put with the hot milk on top and it breaks apart. It was very good. Some Belgian chocolate. It was excellent. Excellent. I don't know what's for dinner. The thing is, I had snacked a lot because I had like a double whammy. I had the moussaka I made, which turned out very well. Thank you. My moussaka was very good. I had that for lunch, and then for a snack, I was getting hungry before the show, and I still had some leftovers of the eggplant parmesan I made last week. So today is my eggplant day, my Greek and Italian eggplant day. Yeah, the Belgian chocolate was delicious. So that's that. So yes, my eyes are going. So now my allergies are going too, which is funny for whatever reason. But we knew my allergies were going earlier anyway, but yeah, they're kind of taken off. I think it's that end of the day thing for some reason. I think it's the traffic and stuff always gets it in the air. But anyway, it was very good. Yeah. I'm in Chicago for another week and then back to DC Sunday and then gone for another 3 months and then back here again in August. And my wonderful friend Damien always house sits for me, which is nice because it gives him a nice place to stay. And I've got a huge TV, so it's always nice for Damien to. I have tried Mexican chocolate, very nice. I don't like spicy. I don't like a hot spicy. I do not like. I think they had cinnamon and stuff too, which was nice. I definitely had bought a lot of Mexican chocolate. I've been there twice, which I love Mexico. But yeah, I definitely got a lot of the chocolate. So that'll be nice. But it did have marshmallows in the middle. I was glad because it better have hot chocolate, better have marshmallows. But you're right, being Belgian chocolate, you never know, right? When will we get moussaka and your mom's famous Greek chicken recipe? Now, the Greek chicken, oh, you mean the moussaka recipe? I can definitely give you the moussaka. See, what I've got to figure out is how to, sorry, real quick. Italian hot chocolate is thick. Spanish hot chocolate is thick. Oh, my God. What do they call it? Chocolate and churros or whatever? Oh, my God. I was on the streets of Madrid. I was like 19 years old and ordered a chocolate and was like, oh, my God. That was an experience. I do need to get the recipes up, and I've got to figure out how to do them because they're long enough. excuse me, they're long enough. But I think what I'm thinking is it might be as simple as just taking a picture of the page for you guys, because I can easily do it and just put the recipe up. You know what I mean? And then you've got the recipe. I mean, I was going to record this one for the moussaka, and then I forgot to record the stages. So I said, oh, forget it. But it's pretty straightforward. So I may just take a picture and literally do an intro, tell you about it, and then just put the picture up for 15 seconds. And you can always freeze it, save it, or even better, look at it on a computer or an iPad, because you can look at TikTok on computers too, and it'll give you a much bigger screen. But that's probably the best way to do it. Greek chicken, that's not much of a recipe. I just find Greek chicken it's good or it's not. It's hard to say. My mom I will say, my mom does it. She likes to do it under the broiler. Oh my God, I'm yawning. She likes to do it under the broiler. So she gets chickens that are already broken apart, the legs, the wings that are apart, and seasons them. Pretty much you make a slurry or a mix or whatever of olive oil, lemon juice, oregano, salt and pepper. If you like, I don't put pepper. I hate pepper, but salt and pepper. And, milau archeta elinika, alatora ksechasa parapoli. Yeti then milau mekathena. So, no mekathena? No, mekanenas. That's it, mekanenas. So yeah, I don't get to speak Greek with anybody. I was fluent. I was so fluent in Greek oh God, now it would have been 30 years ago. I was good. I got into a fight with my cousin in the town square in Skiathos. Skiathos? No, Skiathos. It was Paros. Yeah, we were in the Antiparos, and we were in the town square and got into a big fight. And I was shocked. I was just tearing him apart in Greek. And I was so angry. Later, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. So yes, my Greek used to be very good. Tora ineligo rusty, like Yaya would say, sadly. But I go for a few weeks and it gets much better. I still have a hard time depending on the conversation I'm having. Skiathos was very nice. Yeah, Skiathos we went when we were younger. I barely remember Skiathos. We went there when I was like 13, 14 with my mom. That's why I said Skiathos, but I just don't remember it. Paros was very nice, though. I didn't like the main Paros. That was too many tourists and discos. But Antiparos was just adorable. That was my favorite. Greece is nice. I've been back to Greece, but I haven't been back to the islands in a very long time. I know you got to keep it up, PB&J, the languages. My Greek, what I've been doing on Duolingo, and I've been going back and forth. I've got to do all of them more. But I think I finally decided I'm going to give up on Ukrainian. I think I said on Duolingo and go back to Russian, because I do have a year of Russian under my belt and I've got a lot of vocabulary, and it's just way easier. The Ukrainian, every word is different from the Russian. It's not helping enough. I'm going, and as much as they don't like Russian, I'll be an American saying, excuse me, izvinitse, I'm a nice guy. So I think I'm going to do that. But I've been doing it. I did it with some Greek, which was nice. I've got to go back and do it more with all the languages. The problem is with all of them is you got to speak. You got to talk or you don't have it. And I get to use my Spanish, which is nice, because in DC, we've got a lot of Latinos in my neighborhood, and meet them with my dog, and some speak English, some don't. So I get to do, English and Spanish both, which is great. French, I don't get to use nearly enough, and I've got to use because my French is excellent, but I just don't get to. And my Italian's getting rusty too. Mike Centani surprised me when we were doing our joint broadcast. He asked me to speak in Italian, and I went, ah! And my Italian was much better than that, but I got embarrassed. So, constant. Oh no, I actually, Mikaela, I had studied four foreign languages at once in college, and it was surprisingly not. It was surprisingly not confusing, though. I like it. I think too, though. Like you definitely have one language takes over the other, like whichever language is better. But it was surprising. It's not confusing. It was maybe, I'm good at languages, but it didn't, I was able to study all four. It didn't confuse me. It was weird. Can I speak what? Irish? No. Irish confuses me. I wouldn't mind, but it's because like I had a friend, Sorka. I always tell people Sorka Brady from Dublin, wonderful lady, probably about my age, had worked in. C'est Audrey-Anne. Oui, c'est vrai, mais si on parle français ici, il y a pas personne, mais il y a beaucoup de monde qui va pas comprendre, nous comprendre. Donc, ça sera pas gentil. Et ça fait un peu trop snob si je parle français maintenant pour les autres. Mika, somebody was trying to get me to talk French with her, which is true. I could speak French with her from Quebec, but I think, did you say you're from Quebec? I'm not sure. But I love speaking French. Spanish too, though. But well, my French should be good. I mean, I had studied in Paris, and my French, my French still is very good, but I had a very good, I shouldn't say a good Parisian French, because maybe if you're not from Paris, you don't like the Parisian French, because people from the rest of France were like, you speak a Parisian French. And I was like, I'm sensing a little antagonism there. But oh yeah, no, I love French. But I've got it. That one I have to keep up, because I mean, my Spanish too, but my French is sort of my most important to me, because since I studied there when I was in college, I studied there for a year, and it just, it's one of my homes away from home. So, ooh la la. And you rock too. Oh, you're telling Big Bad Turnip he rocks. Well, that's okay. He rocks too. English, Australian, American, Scottish, Canadian, English. Hey, the fact that you've got Scottish down is hard enough right there. So I love the Scottish accent. Oh my God. Amazing accents. And I've heard some of the YouTubes that you've got, like the YouTubes of the Scottish people swearing. Oh my God, you people have a mouth on you. At least you guys in the North do. Oh my God, cracks me up. But yes, Irish, forget it. I was going to say Sorka Brady. Yeah, my friend Sorka Brady, who's still in Dublin. If anybody knows Sorka, please say hi. I've been trying to find her, but had worked in Washington, D.C. back when I was there in the 80s, Citizens Bank. But Sorka's name was close enough, Sorcha, but some of her friends' name, I remember Fiacra, one of her best friends, I forgot her name, but they were all names where I'm looking at the spelling going, huh? And I finally realized that with Irish names, they're just, now Duolingo would be a good sponsor for me, potentially, yeah. Actually, you're right, though, considering, I studied Portuguese for like a year and forgot it all, Dharma. Because I wanted, and Portuguese wasn't bad because I had French, Spanish, and Italian. So it was, and I've got relatives in relatives in Brazil. I'm sorry. When my mom came to Chicago, her cousins went to Panama and Brazil as well. And then a lot of them stayed in Greece. So we've got relatives in Portugal who are now born there, which is kind of neat. So watch English football chants. Okay. The Scottish guy stuck on a roof. I can imagine. Well, you'll have to send me these. That's funny. All right, guys, I'm going to call it quits so I can go in and explain to Mom that I am not eating dinner anytime soon. I think I may make my chocolate dessert, my mug cake tonight. We'll see. But this has been good. A little hot. Actually, this week I'm going to be doing the things in my t-shirt, because like I said, it's getting hotter than hell, and it's getting unseasonably hot in Chicago this week. Thank you. And thank you that Lucy. Appreciate, again, now that I know who you are, Lucy, thank you. And yeah, we'll see where things go. And actually tomorrow, same time as normal. I mean, for this week. So we'll be doing 5 p.m. Central Chicago time, 6 p.m. Eastern New York time. And thank you, Ashley, for that. And I've stopped saying UTC because literally I know you all keep telling me the correct time, and I always have somebody else come back to me and say, that's not the correct time, it's this time. So I've given up on UTC. I'm not saying it anymore. It's possible I'll say Paris time or something. I don't know. But the best thing for you to do, New York City time, 6 p.m. Google and ask Google what time it is in New York, and that'll tell you that, well, it's right now it's 6:30 in Washington, D.C., which is, that's Chicago. It's 7:30 in Washington, D.C. right now. So you can always find it that way. Spanish for Morons on Netflix. No, I can only imagine. I know you people say 2300, but it scares me. Every time you say that, somebody else goes, it's actually midnight. It's actually 10 p.m. And I'm like, I don't know. See, already you're disagreeing amongst yourselves. This is the problem I have. Most of you say it's 2300. All right, so I should trust you people and put 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern is 2300. We are convincing ourselves of that again. Yeah. All right. I don't know. I don't want to know what time it is in your country. I want to know what the GMT is for 6 p.m. Eastern time US. What that is in GMT. It seems like people are once again saying 23. As long as that's correct, I will take that. I don't even want to know what the Brits are on. No, because the time change is what screwed me up. I had the GMT thing down, then you guys changed your time, and I went, oh my God. Oh, you guys started today too? Oh my God. Oh, you made it home before the end of the show. Well, hey, good to see you, music girl. But yes, I am trying to sign off. Well, okay. I may still be GMT 23. I'm putting GMT 23, but so help me God, if somebody comes early or late, don't blame me. All right. Then we will do 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, which is New York time, or 2300 GMC, UTC, whichever you prefer. That's what we're going to stick with. Okay. YouTube, I'm going to Danish. I don't speak any Danish. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to learn some Scandinavian. I don't know any. Actually, I learned Droet Helvete is the only thing I've learned in Swedish when I was in high school, but I remember it today. I think that's it. If I said it well enough, we'll see if anybody understood what I said. That's all I learned how to say. But I've never learned. I would love to, except the problem is you guys speak English so well that it's like impossible to even use, you know? I mean, thank you. Thank you, Lucy. It's impossible to speak a foreign language, I feel like, in Scandinavia. England, I mean, my God, the Swedes. It's almost like speaking it in Holland. I mean, my God. But there you go. Did I get it close enough, Nicolina? I just remember because it was like a droet helvete. It was this kind of broken apart. Yeah, but that's all I got. That's all I got. YouTube notification. I've heard that before, that it's not notifying people. I know. There's only so much I mean, not there's so much I can do, but I think TikTok's not necessarily notifying people enough either, but some people do. But anyway, yeah, so that's it. I told you all to go to hell in Swedish, and that's our closing tonight. So, all right, I'm going to say goodbye on TikTok first. I will wait for you guys to say the goodbye back so I know the video has caught up with us. And YouTubers, same thing there. Mr. Zenasola. Well, I feel honored. I know you guys love her, so I will take that. Does that make me an honorary Ukrainian? I would be proud to be an honorary Ukrainian, that's for sure. But I don't want to go that far. Buona noche a todas. Amanya. I got that. Good night to everybody, and until tomorrow. I got that one down. All right. Bye, TikTokers, and bye, YouTubers. All right. See you guys tomorrow at the crazy times we all make.